Okay, now we come to the next segment. It's only an hour left, and then we have fantastic lunch for you guys. But before we come to to the disruptors and innovators, I want to present some new and some known technology, but maybe in a new light. We would like just to inform you that after 1 o'clock, when we finish off here, there's a lunch, and then we have our guided tour. So whoever signed up for the guided tour on the show floor, it starts at 2 o'clock. Meeting is right under the press center, so in front of the Mitsubishi booth, if you know where that is. And that's where we have the booth tour for 1.5 hours. It's independent. We just want to show you what's interesting, what we believe, will be, changing the industry, and some smaller, some bigger ones, some things you have seen. And so if you signed up or so, you're more than welcome. If you haven't signed up, you can still join us if we have enough headsets. That's the only limit we have. So 2 o'clock in front of the Mitsubishi booth, below the press conference, the press center. Good. So coming up next to innovators and disruptors, I would like to get the speakers on board. On stage, obviously. Kelly from NEC Alp. Fantastic. Are you already mic'd up? Good. Maybe you could get a microphone. Mathieu is already there. I know that. You can come on stage already. Kiryl, are you here? Fantastic, fantastic. And Kiryl also brought his little toy with him, so or a big toy. And please have a seat. Have a seat. And we just wait until everyone is ready and mic'd up everything. And for us, this panel, it's about known and unknown technology. And maybe we just start, because you already started. That's fine. Mathieu, maybe just a few sentences about you're from France to start off with, from Lille, we just learned. Yeah. And you are doing a way-guiding software, a way-guiding platform. Software is the wrong expression. So maybe you could give just a few ideas what you're doing and what makes so special about it before you go later on in your phase, just to give the first introduction.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting. So I'm Mathieu Gérard, and I'm from Mapwize. And so Mapwize is an indoor mapping solution. So we are based in France, indeed. We have been starting the business 5 years ago. Now we have grown to 20 people, and we are redeploying the solution globally. So it's really interesting to see more and more things happening on that digital mapping side.
And did you start with digital signage? No, you start with a mobile solution, right? You grew from mobile to digital signage, or what's your history?
Actually, no. And that's kind of what's different about it, is that we didn't start either from the mobile or from the digital signage. We started from the mapping perspective. Okay. And so we really wanted to see that buildings were getting more and more digital, and that when you want to bring digital services into those buildings, there is very often one of the key components that you need to have is a map. And so we have maps of the outdoor that is now very common in every single mobile phone. You can book a hotel, you can book a car, you can go to a conference. All of those use cases is no-brainer. You have the map into your phone, but as soon as you enter a building, the map is not there anymore, or very often it's not there. And so that map can be used for guiding visitors, but it can also be used for a lot of other use cases, from security perspective to IoT to other kind of use cases. And that's how we decided to go from there with the mindset of having maps that you could use everywhere.
But just that everyone understands, you don't have a technology to map a building, you have a technology of using existing maps and using them digitally, right? That's where you come from.
The goal is really to be able to have maps that are easy to use in mobile or web applications. And so where those maps come from are not really important to us. Most of the time, facility management has building maps. It's not something that is existing, right? Blueprint do exist, but the problem is that most of the time they are limited to very few people in organizations. And so by being able to take those and open them, making them digital, then you can start using them much more often. You can bring them in digital signage, you can bring them on mobile, you can bring them on the web, and so you make them more useful for everybody. Still with the security restriction that you need to have on those maps, because it's still important assets for companies. So you don't want them necessarily to be published on Google Maps, right, for everybody to see, but you want to make sure that you can control who sees them and what is seen for different use cases.
Great. Good. Well, now everyone's on board. Fantastic. So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you.
Kelly's from NEC Alp, NEC US. Mm-hmm. But your background is not technology.
No, my background is actually end user. I was director of in-store marketing for 3 pretty large global brands. So I'm from the end user world. And so I'm excited to be on this side of the business. It's been extremely interesting and fun for me to learn about it. And
that's really cool, because that's, so often we're just, when the technology industry is just in their comfort zone, they're just talking about, technology is just, it's great, so it must, customers must love it, but that's not the case. So it's great to have somebody who comes on the other side, who understands what the needs really are, and then to look, what fits the needs.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that it's been exciting for me to join NEC and be on the analytics side of it. When I was approached for the job, I was very excited. I've spent a lot of money on digital content in my past life, and there was no way to measure and prove effectiveness of content. And I had all my coworkers that had online metrics they could prove out and advertising, and I didn't have anything. And so this was a breakthrough for me. I was extremely excited to be part of it. It's a big part of the industry. Last but not least, Kiryl, I'm sure everyone has seen this thing. There were the showstoppers in the past 2 years at ISE, past 3 years maybe, something like this or so. We invited him because there's a next generation, there's a next story to it. Because this one is wow, and to be honest, I never believed in this one. I have to be very honest, and we had a short conversation a few months ago. I said, wow, it has a wow, and then everyone forgets about it, But you convinced me, because you have customers who ordered them by the hundreds to roll them out. And even the newest generation, you can even take photos. That's the biggest thing, the biggest challenge with the first generation. If you took a selfie out of it or so, you didn't see anything. So Kiryl, fantastic that you're here on stage. And maybe a short introduction, where you come from and what your company is all about?
Absolutely, yeah. So my name is Kiryl, and I'm a co-founder of Hypervsn, and we're based in London. And we're 160 people today. And we've got an R&D office in Minsk. That's where I'm originally from. Great engineers. And we've got a servicing office in Lithuania. And now we're moving more and more to the States, because this is the largest market for us.
Cool. Are you allowed to mention the customer who ordered this one, the telecommunication customer? Or
which one?
Vodafone?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of customers, yeah. Not just Vodafone.
I didn't mention it,
yeah.
fine.
I think I'll just comment on a little bit different thing. So, because you said just now, so a lot of people didn't believe, and or thought, it was a little bit gimmicky, etc. So essentially, our work at Hypervsn in general, is based on a very simple, fundamental thing, right? So, and it's that we all humans, we're people, we live in a really 3D world, right? So we see each other in 3D now. So we're sitting in this, 3D room, and we touch 3D objects. So everything is 3D, truly, right? And yet, and think about it, we've been forced for all these years to view all the digital content in 2D. No one kind of questioned that, But we truly, as human beings, we would like to see digital content in 3D, because this is the life we're living, and this is just this is the fundamental thing, yeah. It's fundamentally, let's say, the human nature, if you will. So what we as a company are trying to build in the long term, right, is something similar to Princess Leia from Star Wars, right? And it's really about, about a digital 3D object or a 3D person or a 3D, matter or 3D something, anything, right? Being projected in 3D anywhere in the room or anywhere in the world, right? So it's about a 3D object augmenting the room, augmenting the reality. So it's really what we're doing is augmented reality. But it's a little bit different augmented reality, because you don't have to wear any glasses, or you don't have to, no headgear. And everybody can see it. Yeah, it's completely different from what we're used to. And so we started calling it public augmented reality, public AR. So this is the industry we're in, right? And there's so many applications and so many markets that we can tap onto. Yeah, it can go, just you Florian just mentioned, that there's new products that will launch. That's true at CES this year. We're launching new products where you can actually interact with the content. That's, a massive leap forward. And essentially, the tech and this, public AR that we call it, you can do so many different things, like holographic virtual assistant, right? It's a completely separate, different market on its own, with different, with its own budget dollars. So you can do a holographic, conference calling, or you can do a holographic, virtual pet, and that would be, a completely separate product proposition for B2C market, totally separate. And you can do, holographic gaming, and that's gaming for maybe location-based entertainment, whatever. So in one of the applications, right, and this is a very straightforward application, straightforward, market, straightforward, budget dollars, is digital signage, and that's why I guess, it's
exactly.
there.
And I know you brought a few slides. Maybe you can shut it, and I have this one here, so you can start whatever you want and just show a few slides if you want to, and give us a short introduction, because your product needs some visual.
I've actually got a video, if we want to play it. Can we do it? I do it. You should?
Yep.
Yeah. It's about 50 seconds, but it's just showing all our products. That's a video from CES. Yeah, and I can say a few words actually, what we're bringing to digital signage. This is a very simple thing. The value proposition that we're bringing to digital signage specifically is really based on the same, on the same fundamental thing that we're all living in 3D world, and this is how we would like to see digital content, right, in 3D. And if you've seen, some people at our stand, just like in this video, they all go, wow, this is amazing, and they start, smiling. Truly, there's a true feeling. They start talking about it. They start discussing it, and it's a true, feelings, the true emotions induced in people. And when these feelings and these emotions are associated with the message that they're seeing, there's a big value in it. Right? So this is what we're building. We're building the true and deep emotional connections with the audience. So this is what we're bringing to the digital signage industry, as simple as that. And obviously you might say, at this point, show me the numbers. So I've got some numbers here. And there's just a few case studies that we did run with several brands. So here is Lenovo, and we did, I think it was 3 months study, 15 point of sale locations. So they hired a separate, independent agency who was doing the study, and they saw the 34% sales uplift in this 3 months period of time. So the other one is Coca-Cola. It's a similar story, 12% sales uplift, and it was in 25 cinemas. Also 3 months run campaign for their new product, which is called Santa Clara. So a few other names that we're working with. Florian, so you asked to show some of the clients. So here we are. So Walmart is probably one of the largest customers for us in the world, or maybe the largest.
It's also the biggest retailer in the world. So
it is, of course, yeah. And 10,000 locations. This is one of the locations that we're running a proof of concept with them today. So this is the wall that is located so that everybody who's entering the store can see it and can experience the holographic story. So whatever they've got to say, they can say it in this very effective way. So in the same store, we've got a very different installation, and that's hanging from the ceiling, three holograms, and they're showing the story of a particular product. And this product is just sitting below the actual installation. So that's a seasonal wall at Walmart as well. So it's a little bit also different, type of installation. ASDA. We are also doing a POC with them.
Which is Walmart in the UK.
It is, yes. And we're doing this one in the UK in Stevenage. And this is the very beautiful Scan and Go section. It's a great installation to promote the Scan and Go technology. So in the same store, we've got an ASDA, the seasonal 9 units, also talking about the products and telling the story about the product that are being positioned in the shelf here. That's Carrefour. Also a similar story. So that's the electronics section, and talking about the products that are being displayed and sold at the store. That's a slightly different installation because this is a window display. We actually did this installation, I think, a few days ago in Norway. So the quality of the picture is not the best, but it's a true one. So that's also a different type of client, and that's an entrance to theater of Chris Angel in Las Vegas. This is how it looks, the entrance. So this installation has been there for about a year now. So this is also a different type of installation. That is the American Airlines Center in Dallas. That's where Dallas Mavericks are playing their basketball games. Mark Cuban is our investor, so it was easy to put it there. Mark Cuban owns the Dallas Mavericks. And this is the Vodafone installation in Germany. So we equipped about 50 key locations of Vodafone in Germany about a year ago. And right now we're in discussions to actually do a full rollout, national rollout across the country. So this is it from the client's point of view, but I hope it shows the range of different applications in the digital signage specifically, where the product can be deployed.
But Kiryl, the challenge until now was creating the content, because this thing needs good content. And
Sure.
I think you made it now easier for your customers to do that, right? You found out that you cannot leave it just to some creative agencies because it just limits the number of customers. So that's something where you're working on, or have released already, I'm not sure, but that's at least something you're working on to support your customers there.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned content, because in general, just like with any other medium, right? Content is king, so it's the most important thing. And if you don't have a good story, good content, so nothing's going to work. But with 3D, it's a little bit more difficult because it's a world problem. How to automate 3D content production, because just producing 3D content is just expensive. This particular applies to the gaming industry, and everybody is thinking, okay, how can we automate content production? And so in our case, we actually managed to do it, and we've got a product which is called 3D Studio, and which allows anyone without any designer skills to create beautiful 3D animations with a few clicks of a button. So it's a web-based product, so anyone can go actually on our website and try it. And just to give you an example of how big this content production problem is, so we had a chat with China Mobile. It was a long time ago, and they've got, I think, 50,000 locations in China. 50,000, right? Think about this number, 50,000. And what's interesting is that at every store, the manager of every store would want to place their own promotion in the store, right? So the problem, essentially, the challenge is reformulated here, and it sounds like, how do you produce 50,000 pieces of content in 2 weeks' time? So this is almost, even if you have all the billions of dollars on the planet, this is just not possible. It's impractical, right? And this is where we come as an umbrella company saying, okay, so we've got this 3D studio, amazing functionality. So anyone without designer skills can go and just upload 3D models or just create. We've got amazing templates, and this library is building up. And particularly, for big retailers like Walmart or Carrefour, what they would like to do is to change the content on a daily basis. Yeah, if it's say, I don't know, anything, banana, and banana is $1.99 today, but if it's a dynamic pricing, it's a completely different story whatsoever, right? So you want to have $1.49 maybe like in, I don't know, in 2 hours or the next day. So how do you do that? Yeah, and so we're working, very hard on this, and the first step, as I said, this 3D Studio functionality that allows to anyone without any designer skills, to create beautiful 3D animations. And the next step is going to be, integrating all this software, into the customer's infrastructure. Specifically, if we're talking about dynamic pricing.
Yeah. Thank you. Fantastic. Really interesting. And there's much more to it than just the wow thing. Because when we always look at things, it's easy to do a wow, but the question is, how can you, get a concept, that it's sustainable, that it, entertains and people on the long run. And you made it somehow. That's good. Fantastic. Kelly, moving now from sexy stuff to data, which can also be sexy, but all the other way. Could you pass on the...
Sure.
Yeah.
So we have some slides also. You also brought some slides, I think?
I did.
Good. NEC, just that you know. Nope, that's the other one. There was a 50% chance. If it takes you longer, we can also change. But
yeah, we can go. We can switch. You want to go first?
That works.
Okay, should we go with Mapwize first? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Then, okay, sorry. Then.
Yeah, no worries.
Sure. Good. Yeah, explain us a little bit. We started already a little bit, but give us a short introduction where you currently are and what your offering is, what makes it so special, so different.
Yeah, so basically to come back on what we said, the point for us was really to bring the map to the mass market. And it's true that we have seen for a very long time those wayfinding kiosks in very specific locations. But so far what we felt is that only very few locations could actually afford to have those. So you would find it in very select shopping malls, into some airports, but we thought there would be a lot more places that could benefit from wayfinding. And so what we wanted to build was a mapping platform that could easily get started. So you can go online to our studio, you can bring your blueprints, you can import them, and you can have a map that is ready to go in any web or mobile application. You have standard interfaces that you can bring, so it can really go fast. At the same time, if you want to go further, there you can still have your designers start bringing new content, adding a lot more things to make it as good as your clients want, and potentially bring new partners on board, new integrators that will actually go from a basic wayfinding solution to a complete custom solution for the clients with all their needs. And so if you want to add the fidelity card for a shopping mall, you can, but maybe in an office environment, you want to see in real time what room is available or not, and in a control room, you want to actually see the alerts that are being triggered, and so all of that can be brought to the map. And so one of the key elements that was there for us was to be able to bring a very advanced studio where you can make those map edits. And so it's not anymore only very technical experts, even especially not from the vendor, that can make updates to the map, but you can make any partner or client responsible for keeping their maps up to date. And so if you have an event, you can actually reconfigure your map specifically for that event. And none of our clients think it's too complicated.
And consumers are really spoiled because Google Maps is always on, and that's what everyone expects. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest problem. The mindset has changed so much that consumers expect, once it's digital, it needs to be live in real time. And even if you just have a few hours, a different thing, people are, as what they expect, so that's really important. So basically, you can scan in, you can use your digital plans and everything, and you add a digital layer on it and add interactivity and everything.
Yeah, and so the point is really to bring the automation, and we spoke about it earlier today. The point is to bring the automation because that's how you manage to get all those refresh. We have clients that every day push all the list of all the employees that are in the offices, what desk they are assigned to. We have in real-time updates on the meeting room availability. Every day we get data from data centers about where every piece of equipment is positioned, so that if they need to send somebody on site, they don't actually need to spend hours explaining the person where things are. And so we actually go out from a simple wayfinding into really maps that are living. And so with more and more sensors and data being generated from those buildings, all the smart buildings that is also coming up, all those data, I mean, it's great to collect them, it's great to analyze them, but what if we could actually bring them back into the daily life of the user and visualize it? And so if you are stuck in a traffic jam, you see it on Google Maps. If you are stuck in an airport, you have no idea how much time it's going to take you to get to your gate. I mean, it's very similar problems. And the thing is, they have the data. The data is there. Every airport knows how long it takes to go through security. But how do you bring it into the medium that the user uses? On the screens, on their phone, and everywhere that they want to get it.
And is Mapwize a full-blown CMS, or is it just a core which you can connect or integrate in other CMS systems?
So we really want to focus on the map, and so that's where we are. And so we want to make sure that every map data can be integrated directly into Mapwize, so that it makes it easy for the customer. But anything else, it's not going to be something that we will position ourselves on.
So you're specialists. So all these guys with the digital signage software, they can work together with you. They can integrate your thing as an embedded object or whatever, or integrate in their digital signage systems.
Exactly. So if you want to make those maps available on any screen, you can create the map and put it in Mapwize. At the same time, if you want to give an experience and say, hey, I want the user to be able to visualize this map and then see a lot of other content about the store, about the places on the map, that's something that we believe is something else. It's all that marketing content, and that's not something we're looking at right now. We think there are really good players for that also on the market.
Cool, fantastic. I mean, this is really interesting. That's the reason we have this panel, to introduce you to something you have seen, but you haven't, understand the full picture, and something which is really helpful, because I know so many integrators and then software companies out there say, I need this map feature, how can I do it? And it's a challenge. So great, really cool, fantastic.
And I think that was also interesting that we spoke about this morning is the user experience, the digital, the DXP, and so being able to bring that on different medias, and that's where we started. And so basically, you can bring that into your web application, the exact same maps. You can bring them into a mobile app. So if you say, I've seen on a display, I walk with it, and then I have it wherever I go, and you can integrate into station, into kiosk in any way we want. So basically, that exact same content should be available. And one of the key features as well is that when we look today at the outdoor map, we see the same map for a lot of different use cases. So if you need to book your hotel, if you need to find where you go, if you need to get a ride, I mean, all those applications, they are built on top of the same map, just adding different layers of data. And we believe that should be exactly the same for indoor. So that exact same mapping base that you use for wayfinding, you could potentially use it for the control room if you want to see where the alarm has been raised. Or you could potentially use it to send your technicians around if you need to replace a piece of equipment. Sometimes navigating buildings, if you don't go there that often, can be really frustrating. So basically, you can bring that into your kiosk, into your mobile, and different applications.
So moving from a graphics department to a data-driven map application. Cool, fantastic.
Exactly. We have a lot of different customers, different industries. So there are events, of course, that are pretty big, office buildings, but also universities, even cruise ships. I mean, you might think about crazy places, maybe not cemeteries, but there are really a lot of weird places that you wouldn't believe that there are maps in there, but actually it's getting so easy to bring that to data centers.
Well, cemeteries are not that dynamic, I believe.
You would be surprised sometimes. But I mean, it's not necessarily the most funny place to speak about, but it's more to show that there are quite different objectives that can be achieved using the mapping.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Mathieu. Kelly, over to you. So next try.
Okay, here you go. Okay, great.
Fantastic.
So NEC is very well known, obviously, for the screen side of the business and projectors. And so we also have a very long storied history.
You have to go this direction, I think.
There you go.
Yep, here we go.
So we have a long history in analytics. And so where NEC Alp was born was the thought that we have this great business and deep business in displays. And how do you bring extra added value to the display side? You know, content is so important. And how do you provide tools to actually optimize content and really provide that value? So looking at our products across NEC, we do have a long storied analytics history. And so there is a lot of facial recognition. We're in security, customer authentication, and also operational optimization. But where we wanted to go with the platform was looking at what can we leverage from an anonymous intelligence, business intelligence platform. So we have a AVA, which is mentioned earlier in the presentation. It is an anonymous video analytics platform. So we wanted to use the NEC technology and drive the business forward and try to bridge those areas in the company. So Alp really came out of the need to, I'm going to show you this quick video, hopefully it'll turn.
Press again.
It's just a 30-second video.
Imagine an airport that communicates flight delays and alleviates crowding with smart signage. Imagine a store that detects the types of shoppers in the store and serves up only relevant contextual content and offers. Imagine a hotel where intelligent data allows screens to double as a concierge. It's time to awaken the dormant value that lives inside your space. Introducing NEC Alp. Discover, react, personalize.
So I really do feel there's a lot of dormant space in retail, and not just retail, different verticals, transportation, hospitality. Those digital signs are out there, and there's so much potential. So how do you explore that potential and actually leverage the environment and the insights from the environment? And Alp really is meant to create and focus on the customer journey. So really the value proposition for any brick and mortar environment is understanding how customers are moving through that environment. And using sensors and integrating different sensor technology, you can gather dwell, wait time, age, gender, and all of that information to understand the environment. Now those all feed all this information into an analytics and business intelligence platform that help inform your content. So if you understand who's in your environment and age and gender, where they're spending time, you know when to start to actually deliver that content to them. And so Alp is really focusing on the customer journey and delivering key insights. So we want to be the central nervous system for a business. So a lot of our competitors do a great job in a lot of different areas, but we want to be able to integrate all of the data needed for a business into one dashboard and then correlate insights for all that intelligence. So it really is, it's a cloud-based platform. We also do some edge processing, so it's a hybrid. And so that it's ease of integration, we're using API integration. So we're taking all these sensor points, bringing it into Alp, and then creating triggers to develop and deliver content. And you can trigger on events, weather, age, gender. So it's really, after you've understood your environment, how do you deploy all of that insight? So Alp is really, it's customizable. And so looking at my background as an end user, data is extremely overwhelming. And all these screens are out in the environment. And you have this content. And someone can give you traffic, and someone can tell you that different age and gender is in there. What do you do with that? So really, it's understanding what your metrics are for that, what business process do you want to change, and then you can build out a data platform and a tech plan to actually deliver those insights. And so Alp does that, and Alp will go through and take all of those end sensor points that you have, whether you're using mobile sensors or you're using anonymous video analytics cameras, it'll bring that all in and actually correlate that into actual insights. And a great example I'll give you is you can go through and look at a campaign, you're creating content, it could be for retail, it could be for transportation, and you want to target a 20 to 27-year-old female at this time of day, and when it's raining outside, the moment they step in front of the digital screen, there's a camera mounted above it, it'll trigger that content. It's a soft trigger. And that information is delivered to them in that moment. It's met all that criteria. You could be selling an umbrella and it's raining outside and that person walks by and there's an image of an umbrella on the screen. So it's really in the moment content and real time. So we are triggering from the edge, so there's no latency. So it's literally a real-time experience. Gathering impressions, so then it comes back and you can understand who looked at that content. You get reporting back saying what time did they look at. Then you bring in POS data through API integration, then you can tie in conversion. So as a retailer, you really have all this great information at your fingertips, and you're starting to understand how your content's actually driving the needle and sales. And then you can make some really great decisions.
But I think that's an important part, that you collect different data and really get the insight out of this one. It's not just a sensor seeing who's in front of the screen, because we have seen that for years and years.
Absolutely.
It's the approach is a different approach. It's really aggregating different data sources and combining that. That's only possible enabled through AI. That wasn't possible a few years ago.
Absolutely, and I think that there's so much you can do with data, but you do have to have a goal for it. But we can bring in any sensor point. You know, there's so many conditions you can trigger on, but it's really key is just understanding that data and correlating it to actionable insights. And with AI, you can bring the online world offline. You can take all these impressions that you're gathering in your space, and then you start to learn. The content and machine learning starts to tell you, you triggered this content at the age group, this many impressions were gathered, these number of units were sold, and guess what? That content was really effective. And it'll start scoring your content. Then it'll start suggesting content for you and saying, you want to target this age group? Here's what's worked well for you in the past. It could be images. It could be the hashtags you assign to it. It could be the video. So there's a number of features. So it really, that's what Alp brings to the table to really provide extra value to digital signage. Yep. We sponsored a living retail lab, and we wanted to actually test out that technology for Alp. And so it is it's a 12,000 square foot. It's a retail.
1,200 square meters, just to
meters. Meters. And so right in the middle of it, it's kind of like an Etsy with little makers. It's a maker mart. And in the middle is a bar and restaurant and a lounge. And so they had 20,000 unique visitors a month, and they thought, we don't need to do any advertising. So we put in Alp. And what we wanted to do was start with menu board testing and did a baseline. And we said, okay, let's try something first. Let's understand your environment. Let's look at your print and the benchmark there. What are your impressions? What's your age and gender? How much traffic are you getting? We did that for a couple weeks. Then we said, okay, now we're going to put in menu boards. We didn't put any imagery. We just took that content, translated it into a menu board. And you can see right there, sales went down for a lot of reasons. First of all, it didn't fit the environment. It was kind of a cool, funky environment, and those little menu boards really fit it well. And there was nothing interesting about that content. It was just literally text. So digital for digital's sake is a bad thing. And then you have here where we started to add images. And so we added images, and they have these beautiful drinks, craft cocktails. Sales started to slowly rise. Then we started adding motion. And so the images, they're fading in and out, and there was some really beautiful content. Then we started triggering. And so there was a lot of assumptions that were made before they put their plan together, and they said, gosh, it's summertime, we do cocktails, no one's going to buy an old-fashioned. But they started triggering old-fashions to men in a certain age range, and they had an increase of 809% in that cocktail for sales. But they realized Alp was able to, they tested their assumptions, and some of their assumptions about their customers were wrong. And they started actually going through and changing up their menu and creating this whole new strategy for cocktails and food pairings based on all the intelligence they're getting for Alp, because we're driving it and combining it with POS data. So they had very actionable insights. So that was a great story. It was something we were just very fascinated by.
Cool. That's a great thing. That's the reason we're here. 800% plus another 50% through them. It's 1,000%. You have to go back to ISE.
We've solved everything.
You solved everything. Who cares about Corona and everything? Life is easy. And you need a good map app too. So
that's right. Well, and
some customer have to find you.
Yeah, and all these great sensor points and maps, these can all be brought into a platform to really provide all this great data, inform decisions, and deliver great experience to customers.
Yeah. Kelly, we're running a little bit out of time.
Yeah.
But you have a chance to have a look at the booth, NEC booth. You show the thing there. And also at Euroshop, as mentioned before, if you come next week to Düsseldorf, or Sunday already, so we have a really tough 2 weeks for us.
Yes.
So you can have a look at it. It's not as easy to understand as what this is, but it's very powerful, and it's something you should look at platforms like Alp, because they really change the way retailers think and we manage data.
Absolutely.
a lot to all three of you. And we don't have much time for Q&A, but I think you're still around for a few more minutes, and you can ask questions. And thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.